Steady with a bad back there, Terence. Live from the man cave in Alvazara. It's Gaz and Ted not calling themselves Morecambe and Wise this time after the. I think
we've got an unmentionable amount of stick.
Yes, I think you did. It was.
I remember when Morecambe and Wise used to be funny.
Yeah. I think that was very funny. Yeah. Okay. But welcome back. Good on you for coming back after that. A bit of hazing from others in the man cave. You are, of course, in the spiritual home, at the original and best Gaz bar there in central Portugal. It's looking very, very sort of. Is Contiki the right sort of vibe? Is that a djembe in the background as well? Oh, check it out. Now, was that did that come with the house, or is that one you guys?
Yes, that was part of the fixtures.
No, we bought it today.
Fantastic. The other gentleman you can see on your screen here, if you've just joined in and you don't know what the hell's going on, nor do we. But this is the Expat Man Cave, 10 o'clock on a Friday night Lisbon time. Men who have moved to Portugal of a certain vintage, as I said on Facebook while I was promoting this. And we talk about what we're drinking. We talk about what sort of week we've had in the new place. And tonight, I think, Frank, welcome to you. You're steering us towards the big politics of the time, right?
Yes. There are some important things to be discussed today, other than just the Olympics of elections that are about to happen.
Oh, I see what you did there. Very nice. Okay, well, thank you for doing that. How are you this week, and what are you drinking? What sort of week have you had, sir?
Well, this is what we're doing, and this is what we're doing it with, and a few lime slices. So it's going to be a good night.
And that was a bit quick for me. What were you holding up there?
That's gin, and I'm doing some tonic, and I've got some lime over here. And then for later, I don't know if Perkins on anytime now, Mr. Neil Perkins?
I don't know. I think he's got friends. I think he's entertaining. So he'll have that. Yeah, he'll have that fucking suspenders apron on again probably tonight.
I've been blaming it on him, because the thing is, since the time I went and visited him, he got me on the Portuguese aguardiente. So I've been doing a bit of that, and so I got like two different kinds of the one that I had at his place. I loved it, so I got a bottle of that as soon as I got back into town, and I got a bottle of something that was 12-year-old in a wood oak cask or whatever, and this stuff was amazing, man. It's as good as the single malt that I like. So I'll show you guys what I'm doing a bit later with that as well.
Wow. Okay. Look forward to that. So better than the Matheus Rosé then.
Yes. Oh well, Matheus Rosé had its charm, right? I think that it had something going for it.
Well, that's what we tried last night. Yeah, if you weren't with us for the wine club, we tried the Portuguese classic that is Matheus Rosé last night. And you can see that's up on our YouTube channel. We are out live tonight on YouTube, actually. Anyone new who's coming across us via the algorithms of YouTube, do say hi to us in the Expat Man Cave. We'll be here till about 11, and then we'll go VIP, lock-in, private party behind the scenes, where we really let our hair down.
Yeah.
Just look at them. Okay. What are you... I'm no one to talk. I haven't had a very eventful week. If we begin by talking about the sort of expat week we've had here, because I really enjoy that. I really enjoy hearing what people have been up to as they make sense of their new life here. I know, Terence, you've been here a while, but for some of us, we're still making loads of blunders and learning, the hard way here. What are you guys drinking in the Gaz bar tonight, and how's your week been?
We got some bourbon. What is it?
Bourbon and dry ginger.
Bourbon and dry ginger, yeah, which is very nice. Our week, it's just been, for me, doing a lot of work. For Gaz, watching me do a lot of work. It's the same old story. I mean, the great thing about I mean, I love being busy. I mean, that's the great thing. I'm not complaining. To be busy is fabulous. And being busy in Portugal is a terrific bonus, because we've been out today. We've been working on this place. It's been wall to wall sunshine all day.
Nice day.
You could fool yourself. It was a summer's day, and we're nearly into November. You had the old shirt off.
Yeah, shirtless,
spraying
yeah.
and all that. And man, you can't ask for anything more.
Hold on a minute. You sound like a pair of...
I knew you were going to pick us up on that, weren't you? It's just shirtless.
No, it's the combination of being shirtless and spraying. You sound like an old pair of tomcats out there in the yard. It's like, oh my goodness, put them
darling.
Yes, they make smell. Put them outside.
The smell is terrific.
I've sprayed myself stupid out, really.
Well,
yeah, but I mean, it's been fabulous. It's been good, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Apart from picking up a couple of slight injuries, what do we expect when we're our age? But
Danger.
Really, we've had a lot of fun. We've been up the scaffolding again, and hanging off various things and taking risks we shouldn't take. But I'm probably going back to our youth a bit, really. I think that's what it's about.
Yeah, I can understand that. But one thing you might expect is an apprentice or some help from someone else in the village. But if you guys will keep doing that, the photographs from, like, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? Of you, the ladder creation and the very narrow pitch, is that the right way of putting it? Of the ladder led against your house. And then you're taking a jet washer up there as well. And I understand you've had some difficulties with a lengthy lance today. Is that right?
Yeah, very. It's giving me a bad back, that lengthy lance. It seems to amuse you greatly.
Flashing about all over the place.
I'm sure I've been in a few productions with lengthy lance. Terrible fellow. Frank,
that's his tag name now, Lengthy Lance.
Lengthy Lance. How's your week been, Frank? You've been traveling, right?
Yes, we've been traveling. We were in Alentejo, in Alvito specifically, visiting Mr. Perkins. We were there for 2 days, had a look at Evora, beautiful. Alentejo, the entire that area, flatland. I never expected Portugal to have flatland. I thought all of it was going to be all hilly all over the place, and this area was very different, beautiful scenery. So we enjoyed that, and we came back, had to go back to Coimbra to see Miss Eloise Healy, and we all three of us got together and did an olive oil tasting. We went to this Dutch lady's farm where, she's Dutch, her husband is Portuguese. And we went to an actual olive grove, and she showed us what she's doing, the different kinds of olives. We actually tasted olives just like a wine tasting, and some of it was blind tasting, and got to understand what's rancid, what's fushti as far as olive oil is concerned, and a few other things. Really, really appreciated the occasion, because since the time I've always believed that olive oil, when you buy olive oil, even when I was buying it in Canada, I thought I was knowledgeable enough. The lowest acidity of the olive oil, the better it is, and you purchase it. And I learned that's not the only thing. To be honest, this experience kind of confused me as far as the numbers is concerned, but as far as tasting is concerned, I learned quite a bit.
What do you mean on numbers?
Well, if you were to think about olive oil, and if you were to say, all right, if it's simple enough, then the lower the acidity. So when you go and buy at the big continent grocery stores or the Intermarchés and whatever, they've got quite a few different brands. And what she was saying is that 80% of them are not suitable to be sold.
Really?
She was saying yes, and this includes the entire Gallo brand of olives and whatever. And she showed it to us, and you wouldn't know otherwise. And she was like, "This one is rancid. This one is moldy. This one's got this problem." And as you tried it, you were like, "Oh my God, I would have bought something like this." But once you've tried quite a few different olive oils, and the one that she's saying that it's peppery, or it's fresh tasting, we tried a few, and then we realized that is what suited the olive oil tasting the best, and you come out of it with some solid answers, but a lot of confusion.
And that surprises me, Frank, because you're a chef, a cook, and I'd assume you'd know about these things. But this whole Portugal thing is an education for us all, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's an absolute education.
I can't really believe all the olive oil that they sell in the supermarkets is 80% of it is not fit for human consumption. I think there's a bit of showboating going on there.
Well, it's the same thing. I don't know, Terence, if you've read about the scandal that has been going on for years with olive oil around the world. That in North America, especially.
Strangely, no, I'm not aware of that.
All right, so I'll make you aware, Terence. So when you purchase olive oil in North America, primarily the olive oil comes from Italy, Spain, or Greece. And what had been happening is what's being sold on the shelves was olive oil that they were saying, oh, this is virgin olive oil, 0.5% acidity. And what was actually happening is they were mixing it with vegetable oil. And the real olive oil was never reaching those shores unless you went and you had a supplier from Greece, Italy, or Spain. Portugal is never even in the conversation over there. So when I came over here, I did know that most of the olive oil that you purchase in the grocery stores is not very good, but I did not realize it was to this extent. When we came back home, the olive oil that I had purchased actually 2 weeks before, we tried that olive oil and we realized that olive oil is actually half decent. It goes back to, once again, and I don't like saying this, it goes back to price once again. You get what you pay for. A lot of the farmers who do in small batch, who work with small batch, they will sell, obviously, their supply for a very high price. So when you go and buy a very small bottle for 8 to 10 euros, you are paying for a very good quality olive oil. Plus, she taught us something about the batch number. So when you look at the batch, it will usually say what year the olive oil was produced. And as far as the olive oil is concerned, it should last only a year and a half. So the expiry date should say that. And most of them that I've looked at, we went and looked at Continent, I realized that, first of all, they were produced, let's say, 2 years ago, and the expiry was 3 years or something like that, and the olive oil was obviously not the best quality.
Amazing.
How would we know, Frank? How would we know a good olive oil from sort of a bad one? What would be the difference?
Good question, Garbo. This is where the confusion was. Where I asked her that question is like, well, whatever. It was all about tasting it. So as we tasted the fresh olive oil, or the olive oil that had the peppery taste, that you can find a few different flavor profiles in it, as opposed to the ones that were just plain old tasted like oil. That was a difference. Other than that, I used to think that the best olive oil, as I said, is like if you went to 0.2% acidity olive oil, that would be the best. However, that was not the case. It's by tasting the olive oil, unfortunately. And then once you taste the olive oil, you feel that this is the best olive oil, then you stick to it and you stick to that supplier. We've tried quite a few different olive oils. The one that I've got right now seems to be the best one. Okay. I didn't purchase any olive oil from her, by the way.
Yeah, where's your bandana?
That's brilliant. Good evening to you, Eugene. Just
Good
come
evening
back.
to you, Eugene. Hey, Eugene, where's your sex doll?
Please, no more sex doll. No, we'll leave that one alone.
Leave that on tour.
I have prepared questions for this sex doll. I thought Eugene would show up, and I have a short interview for the sex doll because I am concerned about the welfare of this sex doll. I don't know if she's made of titanium, if it is a she. I don't know what's going on. I'm not judging Eugene. It's
Leave
just
it,
that.
Leave it. Leave it.
Leave it. Walk away. Okay.
Get out when you're on top,
Okay.
so to speak.
Just leave it.
Yes, nice one, Gary. Let's see who else is here joining us tonight. Wondering what on earth is going on. She is feeling deflated at the moment. That should happen with these new generation devices, I've heard. What the hell is that behind Carl? To my stage, what's this side? To my right.
Oh, yeah, that's Vanilla Fielding.
Yes.
And both Gary and Terence now have a slightly sort of misty-eyed vibe about them, looking at Vanilla Fielding.
Slightly wet and moist, yes.
Actually, your microphone is just in the wrong place when you move out the way. If you move up, that's better.
That's a lot better.
You rascals. To my left,
matron.
Kenneth Williams.
Williams.
Legend of Carry On. It's Carry On Screaming behind me, which is a suggestion of Morecambe and Wise tonight, comedy legends. Who thought I should... You remember them.
They're not very funny.
They used to be funny. This is my Halloween effort. I was going to have the White House, the Oval Office, with the legendary table, upon which I think either Bill or Monica sat, and all sorts of things must have gone on that table. But we'll save that for our election coverage next week. Frank,
She was under the table. Let me just correct you there, but that's okay. Go ahead.
Thank you for
that. Just remember,
point.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Very good. Word for word. You never know when you might need that. Very, very good, Terence.
Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard from Bill Clinton's political consultant at the time.
This is my favourite greeting of the evening. Hola, Paris. I think that's wonderful. Chris is here. Hi, Chris, who joined us last week, hopefully in the lock-in again as we talk probably in greater depth about politics. It was really great last week, actually, our lock-in. Really enjoyed that. Some people are watching direct through Carl's channel. Invite them to this channel so they can see all of the comments. I think you can comment on all of them, Chris, but I'm very happy that you're doing that so more people can have a say. We do love your comments. We really do. It makes it so much fun. Maria Suarez, good morning, Portugal from the USA. Lovely to hear from you. Eric J is here. Good evening, guys, from North Carolina. Fantastic to hear from you. And Charles starts off the evening just lobbing this in there. Trump 2020. I know you've got one of these nominations for this week. I think this is the right button. Yes, our Barcelo Awards. What?
Sorry, it was your arthritis playing up again, mate.
It was my... I don't know if I'm doing Donald Trump playing a trumpet or whatever. Sorry. Okay. Do you want to... Okay. Is that better? Okay. So your suggestions for Barcelos, Prince Harry, we could talk about this week, couldn't we? I mean, what? Because that crosses the transatlantic connection pretty well. I don't think Terence wants to talk about Prince Harry. We do have a lovely suggestion from Charles, though. Travis Roy, somebody who I'm not aware of, but Travis Roy, Terrier hockey player, paralysed in 1995, dies at the tender age of 45. Tributes pour in from the hockey world and beyond for Roy, who dedicated his life after the accident to helping others with spinal cord injuries and funding research with courage, class, patience, and grace. Rare qualities, some would say, over in North America at the moment. But I don't know if you want to say any more about that, gentleman, Charles. you're welcome to come on and the screen and do that. It looks as though look like Charles is nominating Eugene. Eugene rocks, which could be you could sign into a hotel like that, couldn't it? Eugene rocks. I'm with you, but the wee bit of wine is finished. Time at the bar, so to speak. Bed not too far away. I'm not sure who that is. So let us
Sounds
know.
like a song.
Yeah, words to a
It
song.
does.
An Eagles song.
Yeah, an Eagle song.
Okay.
That sounds like a McCartney.
It's not. Yeah, it's not. Exactly
Hotel. I'm in bed with a wee bit of wine.
Yeah, you can't go at the end of each line, can you? Quite. It is a bit more 70s, isn't it? That. Yeah, I see what you mean. And we shall drink Frank's tears after the election, Charles.
What does that mean?
That's creepy. That's
Trump's going to win.
Yeah.
Frank, are you not for Trump? Frank, you're not supporting Trump.
No, Trump's got issues with Japanese dolls.
Right.
Hey, we've got to have some of the American guys back. I mean, why can't they join us live? They're good fun. It's good to have them. Please, lads, come up, speak to us.
All right, let's pop that link into the chat.
Anybody? We like hearing from the American guys.
I think I've decided I want Trump to win because Trump likes Britain and he'll do a nice trade deal with us. And we've got to go for Trump. I'm saying we. I'm speaking for Gary, and I thought
Trump liked himself, to be honest.
Yeah, well, Trump does like himself, obviously. But the guy wants to do a deal with us, so I like deals. Let's do a deal.
This is he wants to do a deal with us, the guy who lives in Portugal. It's fascinating, isn't it? How these things work. How long does it take to give up talking about us as in the old country you used to live in? Very good point. But I mean, the old saying that you can take the boy out the street, but you can't take the street out the boy. Well, I suppose you just broaden that out to a country. We are, I suppose, although very interested in life in Portugal, we're still British abroad, when you boil us down, And I think that would be true for an American or a Canadian. You still class yourself as British or Canadian. Yep.
We're Canadian, but we're Porto Canadians.
Portugal Canadian. Well, that's a good way to look at it. It's a good way to look at it.
Luso Canadian, I guess.
Yeah.
Going back to Travis Roy for just a minute, on his first shift, in his first college game, he was injured 11 seconds into the game when he broke his neck. Good God. That's a terrible twist, isn't it? That's hockey for you, I guess. Yeah. Wow. And then went on to do great work for others after that. Good heavens. Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, certainly he gets an alpha male, posthumous alpha male Barcelo from us tonight. So why the wincing when I mentioned Prince Harry, Terence? I mean,
go on, speak your mind. This is the place to do it.
Prince Harry. I mean, I understand for Britain. It's a tremendous, especially living in Portugal. The royal family is a complete movie show. The amount of airtime that they get, etc. Right around the world, and I never really realised this living in Britain. And I wasn't really a royalist, I'm not. But I have to admit, from an advertising marketing point of view, for Britain, I'd have difficulty designing anything better. In terms of getting public attention, the dramas that go on in the soap opera. But I don't know. I'm not really that interested myself, but I can see that really out in the big wide world, they do have a remarkable advertising audience.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for Harry, obviously because of his military background, etc. But I have reservations about the person that he's married to be honest.
Well, this is what's
I think it's more about her now than it is about him, and it's just, in my view, he's in tow.
He's a bit of a shadow now. Yeah,
he loves the desperately. You can see that, but it's almost like she's taken over the show, and she's brought the royal credibility with her, and he's going to exploit that. That's the way I see it, but my opinion is not necessarily right.
No, but I mean, that's what this is all about. We're interested in hearing your opinion. What I'm interested in is that very dynamic. This is man cave stuff through and through. This is a guy who was liked for being a blokey bloke, military career, bit of a chap, cocked up publicly, didn't he? Nazi uniform to a fancy dress party, all that sort of stuff. Bit of a gave the royal family a bit of cred, didn't he? By allegedly, you know, having a different bloodline to his brother, all that sort of all that sort of stuff was kind of.
Can't say I've noticed.
No, I'm sure that's come as a massive shock to many people. What I've just said there, and I
what are you talking about?
Allegedly, obviously,
Allegedly,
yeah. And then he meets Meghan. And it's that sentiment that you talked about there, Garvo. It's like, it's when your mate, and it probably happens when you're younger, although it can happen in later life, and it's probably even more devastating then when older men get with a new partner, and that new partner seems to be taking your mate away from you. What is that all about? What is that dynamic about? And do you think it is sort of navigable, manageable, that a guy can meet a new and very sort of powerful, influential woman who he's obviously in love with, as you say there, Gary, without it ending up like Harry, who seems to be losing his mates and just seems to be sat on a sofa? And I mean, when he said, I've been walking in my wife's shoes for a week, or whatever it was he said, it's like, I thought that was really, really amusing.
Bad image, though, isn't it?
Not good, and you get corns doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, sort of cramp and.
Yeah, but what is that thing about? As men, do you recognise that? You're sort of losing a mate to a woman, and then, you know, how is that resolved? And would it be possible for it not to be like that, for it not to go like that?
I think you've got to be realistic. You know, when you're with your main woman, you're going to lose some dimension of your social life because you're going to spend time with your partner. You know, and if you like being with your partner and it's the right person, you don't feel that bad about it. And let's face it, you know, blokes can be boring, you know, it's just the truth. You know, not getting a lot of support out there.
No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I mean, if we use this, if we use this analogy of this is our local on a Friday night, and one of us disappears because there's a kind of new love interest. On the one hand, you'd be thinking, like, screw him disappearing and leaving us. But then if it was you doing that, you'd be like, you know, screw them. I'm having a much better time.
It's funny you should say that. Just before you came on air, we were looking at a picture of Sophia Loren, right?
Yes.
And we were both, because, you know, we're sad, but we were just looking and thinking, you know, what a drop dead, beautiful piece of poetry on legs this woman is. And like how, you know, if you had a girlfriend like that, you really should never have a girlfriend like that because you're playing way out of your league. It's like the car, you know, it's like a Ferrari you should never really have when you should have a Ford Escort, right? And like, but how you just throw everything of your manly fiber at that impossible task of, you know, that one chance. So, you know, I think it's important.
Frank.
Go on,
I
Frank.
have a few questions for the Travis family. Did you both share a room at some point when you guys were a bit younger?
We had two mates. We had
the Travis family.
Travis, what's that?
Did you say Travis?
I think what he's done there is, you know, you're not so much like Morecambe and Wise. You're actually like the band Travis. There's a remarkable resemblance between you and the jangly pop stars known as Travis. Maybe.
Oh, Travis.
Did you guys, at some point,
he's too young for me.
So you did share a room.
Did we share a room? What, when we were kids?
We had to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we, you know,
times are hard.
Yeah,
we're not talking about now. Not now.
It's because
when we were kids.
It's because both of you have this, and I love Sophia Loren as well. But the thing is, you guys seem like you really, really loved, and you really, really had the crush on the same woman. Was there like a poster of Sophia Loren in the room?
All our lives, no, we didn't. Well, we couldn't really afford a poster, you know. I'm sorry, but no. But look, when you get beauty of a level which she, exceeds.
Let me take this one, right?
Yeah,
I'm going to put this into a succinct point, right? Have you ever seen the movie The Millionaires with Sophie Loren and was it Peter Sellers?
I don't know. It might have been Peter Sellers
because he was the Indian doctor, wasn't he?
I wasn't looking at Peter Sellers.
There is a scene in there, right, when she falls in the river and she has to be examined, right? And if you haven't seen this film, you should watch it just for that moment. Then you will realise what Sophie Loren is all about.
Yeah, it's a bit like, just to the left of Carl's ear, you got a picture of Fenella Fielding, gorgeous woman. When we were kids, she was fabulously
lovely voice as well,
yeah,
husky,
sort of, sensual,
yeah,
and full of sort of innuendo and attraction. Marvelous. You should watch a few Carry On movies and especially the horror ones because she's very good in them.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got this image of you two sharing a room. You couldn't afford a poster, so you had to do a stick drawing and pretend it was Sophie Loren.
Well, I'm your man. Stick drawings.
You're never gonna do a stick drawing of Sophie Loren, mate. I tell you that.
No, you're gonna need a thicker pencil, buddy.
I get it. Yes, that's a contradiction in terms, isn't it? And I guess you must have drawn her like one of your French girls, Terence, and rendered her beautifully on your ceiling.
No, I've got to be honest. The only thing that was rendered beautifully on our ceiling was some cracks and
a bit of mold,
yeah, and bit of bare paintwork. But I get your drift. Yeah, Sistine Chapel. It's kind of idolatry. Yeah, yeah, but it's Eugene Oswald Mulberry.
Our American friends have decided not to join us yet. So Oswaldo Mulberry, working under a very convincing pseudonym. We'd never have guessed it was you, Eugene, when you appeared on the screen. So good evening.
Hey, everybody.
How you doing, Oz?
Hey, Eugene, how you doing? Hey, can you doing, dude?
How's the house coming on? Have you rented it out yet?
Brilliant. I got everything tiled throughout this week. Herringbone, the parquet flooring.
Oh, you did it, right?
Yeah.
Next job, your Wi-Fi.
What'd you say?
Next job.
Yeah. For sure.
We'll just mute you up for a minute, but it's lovely to have you there on the screen with us. Just gesticulate if you want to say something. All right, I'll just mute you for a minute.
Don't worry.
Eugene, do remember I'm your only ally. These Brits are going to take you on.
I think the Irish are quite used to that.
Don't start that, Frank. For goodness sake. Okay.
No, man. Deep respect. Okay. Deep respect to our brother from the Emerald Isle.
Yes.
Although you're rather northern part of the Emerald Isle, aren't you? It's a bit of an insult.
We're the good part.
You're the good part. Guys, you're the man with the banner.
We don't tarmac your drive.
That's crazy.
Good job, actually, because last time we had a crew from Ireland come in and tarmac our drive. I tell you what, it was like the Quantock Hills. It was like that,
wasn't it?
Yeah, very up and down. But we weren't going to argue with them. Yeah, great. Thanks, guys. Perfect.
It was left over from a job. What do you expect? Okay, so we'll just mute you up there. We've got some comments coming in. So Topless, looking at pictures of Sophia Loren, this is their day in Al Wazra. Thank God the camera wasn't on. Watch it topless or bottomless, maybe with some of Frank's olive oil.
Terrific! What a great idea.
Sounds good.
Yeah, don't use the expensive stuff for that. You just
way to ruin the olive oil there, Chris. Thanks.
Rancid. And on a more serious note, I wonder if Trump would make fun of Travis's handicap like he mocked that handicapped journalist at one of his rallies. That's the guy you are supporting. Gauntlet down there. Gauntlet down. Whoa! Okay.
Charles, where are you? Charles, come on. Come back.
Okay. It's just easy for us to watch stuff like that, isn't it? And we will be covering this on Tuesday and Wednesday night from 10. we'll be staying up for as late as we can manage to watch how this unfolds in the United States. And all are welcome from the Man Cave for that. It's going to be very exciting. I've got to drag you back to this drink. What am I drinking tonight, Frank? Look, I said to you earlier on, didn't I? I've got pomegranates from the garden. I've also got kiwi fruits from the garden. You suggested I infuse it with vodka. And why put honey in with the pomegranates? What's that about?
It's because you need you need a sugary kind of sweet element in there to balance the sourness of the pomegranate.
All right.
And I was here's the funny bit. When I said this to my wife, I was like, I gave him this suggestion. She said, "Did you tell him to actually juice the pomegranate, or is he just going to have like the full-on pomegranates in there?" I go, "No, of course he's going to juice it. Like, why would he just like have the full-on pomegranates in there?"
Okay, so as you can see, I've got the full-on pomegranates in here. I like it like this. I think these infused with vodka as they are. If I don't enjoy it now, it's going to be enjoyed later somehow, isn't it? Come on.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. It's and especially the pomegranates that you gave us were spectacular. We the first day when we had it, we were like, these are amazing pomegranates, man.
Yeah, and they're so juicy, aren't they? I mean, I remember.
Of course, Carl, right? Frank might be lying, and that could give you the violent shits. You never really know, do you?
Hopefully not in the next 20 minutes with any luck. You're all going to be the first to find out if that is the case.
Eugene's got something. Eugene's got something.
Yeah, let's unmute Eugene.
Carl, if you take the pomegranate or kiwi fruit or both of them for that matter, and put them into like 100% alcohol, and then bury it for about 6 weeks, you'll be amazed at the results.
Eugene, this is not a missile site. This is not a WMD site. Like, take it easy there. Poor guy. He's just trying to make a drink here.
It could be. I've got this really weird sounding vodka. Is that just a marketing ploy? A vodka called Aristoff?
Well, no, it's a that sounds like a porn star name. It's what's going on over there?
It's
Aristoff.
Not Aristoff. Not Ristoff, but Aristoff. From the land of the wolf, and it's based on Prince Nikolai Alexandrovich's Bristoff family recipe. Do you think that's true, or is that just a load of old hooey to get me to buy it? With a little
Where is the land of the wolf?
Wales, isn't it?
Russia?
Russia?
North Wales.
Yes, North Welsh vodka.
Yeah, I mean that could be anywhere, couldn't it? Really, in the north, like in Canada, Northern Europe.
Anyway, guys, let's get back on track. Let's get back to where we were supposed to be. Come on, let's get serious now.
About politics.
Yeah, whatever the show was going, let's take it back.
Okay. I've missed a couple of comments because this is great, Chris. At least you won't see my candidate sniffing the hair of little girls and groping them.
Well, Here we go.
Yeah, you will have holes in your yard. Where Eugene? I think this is where I buried
Gary, you silent killer, you mischievous silent killer, you. This is what you want to watch.
This is what they want.
Oh, that's not bad at all. Honey and pomegranate. I'm liking that. Thank you for that suggestion, Frank. And kiwi with vodka as well. Not too bad at all. Mrs. Emma will love that. I'll make a smoothie where Eugene dug it up. That's what you'll be amazed at. The holes in the backyard where all these and then we'll just get Gary and Terence to come and jet wash it all and then give me the name of that tarmac contractor and all will be good again. Okay, so you want Trump, Terence, to win because it's going to be good for Britain. Gary, what do you want to what sort of result do you want?
I'm not a Trump fan, but then again, the alternative is completely wishy-washy. I'm deeply concerned about American politics because they don't have the choice. Yeah, I mean, it's which is it? You know, the worst of a bad deal, or you know, I just don't understand it.
The choice is a bit thin
for the land of freedom and liberty. They ain't got much choice, really, have they? To be honest.
No, it's a massive irony in that, isn't it? The land of the free and the brave, and there's just two really terrible people to pick from. That doesn't sound free or brave, does it? But I mean, I still. Kanye West made a really good point about this. I watched the Joe Rogan Kanye West interview, and Kanye West at one point in that interview says these presidential debates, they should be domestic only. The rest of the world shouldn't see it. It's our family business. And I think he's got a point. We don't understand it. You know, we can relate to it in a way. And it's, you know, I think the guys here, the American guys who we've talked to here, have helped me understand it better. It is an extension of American entertainment, isn't it? And the way, and showbiz, and the way things are done in America, that doesn't translate especially well for us, British people anyway. I mean, Frank's going to have a very, I can see from the smirk on his face, the different view that he has. It's almost being spoken without any words at all there, just a look on his face. What do Canadians make of this, Frank? Speak for them all right now.
Canadians,
no pressure.
Canadians enjoy American political drama. We watch it from far. We've got our own, but ours is like B or C grade drama. American drama is the top. If you went and province by province in Canada, and if you asked what our political system was all about, most people would not be able to answer, but they would be able to answer what's happening in America. We are very much tuned into American politics, is because that's the television we get primarily. Like we get our state-owned channel is CBC. Other than that, we've got CTV and we've got one or two other channels. Other than that, on Canadian channels, you don't get anything interesting. It's all about American stuff. We enjoy American politics. We know a lot about American politics. As a matter of fact, it's to a degree where it's kind of looking into your neighbor's house. It's not the best. You never know if your neighbor is naked or not. But most of the time, we do find our neighbor naked. So we kind of enjoy it. We're like the northern perverts. We like peeking into their house.
That sounds like a great name for
yeah, but what about the Trump-Biden debate? I don't know where you went with that, buddy. I mean, come on, stop peering into people's houses.
He likes
Shocker.
Because he's been down
Frank,
to
Between Trump and Biden, anyone who understands and watches this. But the other day, Biden, when he was asked a question about Trump, he answered back saying, "Bush can't have 4 more years." Yes. So there is obviously some kind of mental decline in this man. And
I think that's seriously worrying. And
the problem is you've got an orange baboon and you've got another guy with a pacifier in his mouth. There's a problem here, right? You've got two complete.
It's great entertainment, though.
It's just entertainment. It's just pure entertainment. You don't look at it as anything else but that.
That typifies politics now. It's all just about drama and entertainment. There's no substance. There's no real direction in it. It's just like watching a reality TV show. And
think about it. Think about British politics, right? You've got a buffoon like Boris Johnson who rolls into. I think he actually rolls into his press conferences because his hair completely unkempt. He always looks like he's never ready for a press conference. Like when he comes on, it's like he always looks like someone has just prepped him and he's forgotten all his lines and now he's going to say anything stupid any minute. And he does exactly that. So politics around the world has become entertainment. We cannot deny that. There's nothing to it.
Yeah.
Good point.
More comments coming in. Chris and Charles are at it tonight. And I mean, I've got to say, it is easier for us without skin in the game, as it were. I mean, this is important to American people's lives, obviously, and it's easy for us to kind of abstract it and have a bit of a giggle about it. But Charles, Trump said that one of the best parts of owning the Miss America pageant was so he could walk to the dressing room. Also, don't forget Trump's connections to Epstein. Watch the video of the two of them. Charles retorts, the man that is in that office affects the whole world. So let everyone see our dirt. That's a good way of looking at it.
I agree with you, Charles.
We've moved from Trump and Biden to Devane here. If you're a political candidate, Frank, this is what people might be saying about you. Frank's just avoiding from. If he's not behind you.
Hey, thanks for the compliment.
If he's not behind you in the gym.
Same gym as you, Frank.
And Chris says, yes, and never forget the grab 'em comment from I can't get that out of my mind how he said that.
Grab 'em by the party interview.
That's the one, and he is
grab 'em by the potty. Yeah,
grab 'em by the potty. What else can we do with that? Grab 'em by the pearly.
The pony, yeah. Grab 'em by the pony.
Grab 'em by the pansy. Pansy would work, wouldn't it? So yeah, I think you know what we're referring to, and this is the interesting thing, isn't it, about how the supporters can always make good on anything that their man has said. Both, and that works for both sides, and that's where you're at here, isn't it? Is that we just have a pretty terrible, least worst sort of thing that you have in most polar political situations now. People going for the least worst. That's where they're at, I think. And Chris is saying, yeah, and the really weird comments he made about wanting to have sex with their own daughter. Ew, yeah. That's if that can be believed, that's pretty icky. Our election is about freedom versus communism, says Charles, and we will choose freedom. And isn't it incredible that so much, you get the emotional weight of what Charles is talking about, and a lot of people, I think, believe that, and I can see that that it's true. And then it comes down to apparently choosing between those two old giffers who just really don't have much going for them, either of them. Frank,
it's kind of like I love Charles, and he's slowly becoming a friend. However, it's like this comment of his about like freedom versus communism. This is just too simple, Charles. There's got to be more to it. There's got to be more cerebral to it. There's got to be something else that's going on to dismiss something as communism and to dismiss something as freedom. Because the thing is, we all know what happens when America decides to give someone freedom. It's not a good day for that country. So let's not go there. As far as we are concerned, let's talk about what is happening in that country. You've got two candidates who don't deserve to sit in the White House, where such amazing people have gone and sat. People who really deserve to be there. Both of these clowns don't deserve to be there. They are entertaining. One, because every time you ask him something, he does not remember what he ate last night. Was it an ice cream, or did he have a proper dessert? And the other one he's always in a tanning salon or being painted bronze by someone. So you've got two complete lunatics who are about to go take charge. So for the rest of the world, say goodbye to whatever is going to happen. It's a horrible situation for the world, regardless of what happens.
Okay, Charles is saying, Chris, how about all the outright racist stuff Biden has said on video? Please try to find anything similar to that that was said by Trump. Yeah,
we don't. Well, I've not seen any of it. It's amazing that all these things exist, but it's kind of not hit mainstream media here.
Well, have you got the time? I mean, would you even bother to look?
I think I would. Yeah, I think you have to say, right, that America, you're gonna be. We know the culture. We buy into the culture. We are fairly well acquainted with it. And so it's of interest. It's of. I mean, how long have we spent talking about it now? Yeah, laughing, joking, comments, points,
endless fascination. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so we might as well admit it. It is still the leader of the free world. You have to admit it. I mean, I challenge people, right? If America didn't run the world, who would you think, or who would you put as a candidate to run the world?
Terence, you are mistaking a crush to something that you really need. The thing is that everyone in the world has had a crush on America. Think about music. Any British band that ever thought that they were going to make it. If they were ever going to make it, it was going to be in America, and after that they would get huge. And I agree with that. The problem that we are facing right now, and people are not understanding, is America does not necessarily determine what happens in the rest of the world. Right now, the kind of politics that are being played, the way things are being done, it's China and Russia. Think about it. CIA and FBI, whenever someone talks about these two organizations, they're supposed to be secret services, right? Not much secret going on over there. Does anyone talk about the KGB anymore? No. Does anyone talk about the Chinese Secret Service? No. Because it's a secret. That's what it's meant to be. What I don't understand. This is exactly what we're watching. It's American soap opera. It's lovely to watch. You can put it just like Jerry Springer every day, and it will give you ratings. It's amazing to watch, man. There's nothing wrong with it.
But I'm just seeing, right, I'm looking at the comments at the bottom. No sort of defamation to either of the lads here, right? But they've been trading insults about sensational issues here. But there's no policy. Where is the actual policy? And you're electing somebody not because what they...
Gary, this is the charm. Gary, this is the charm.
Frank, you cannot put somebody in power of the most powerfulest nation in the world with just charm and drama. You've got to have somebody with a bit of brain. Somebody's got their finger on the button now. Come on, let's get back real. We've got to have somebody with a bit of control, a bit of thought, and a bit of intuition. This drama thing has got to end. Good TV.
See, Sam Dave there saying electional selection.
I think
what does that mean?
I think that's a very erudite comment, and I will respond to let's get real, Gary. This man who is going to be next week is not the leader of the free world. I don't get that anymore. I think you are right there, Frank, with this idea of a crush. We've been brought up to believe it's the free world because we've heard it over and over again. This elsewhere in the world, this is being referred to as the Asian century. I think we have to be a bit smarter here and look beyond Europe and America to what's really going on in the rest of the world, rather than us looking inward, contemplating our own kind of political, philosophical navels, while the rest of the world is like moving on and is in the moment. It's not in the past. It's not kind of trying to create the future using the tools of the past. It's actually making the future by being in the here and now and dealing with like just not all this weird sort of nostalgic showbiz personality-based nonsense. And on that basis, that's what I think is right about what Sam Dave is saying here. It's not, this is a sort of fabricated thing. I'm not saying that the result is going to be made up, but the system is created in such a way to bestow power upon a group of people and a small group of people. And I'm not getting all conspiracy theory like, families, rich banking families, etc. around the world. I just mean, like the greedier people in a society like America and the way the system works there get richer and richer while the poorer people get poorer and poorer. And the system serves that mechanism, that formula. And it's looking like it's getting worse. And then they pretend that the policies, you're absolutely right, Gary, what policies? But whenever the policy is talked about, it's to help the poor people. How long is it going to take us? How many decades is it going to take us to learn that each new president doesn't make things better in a big or right way for the poorest people, and that is most people, isn't it? Let's face it, Frank.
I'll go one step further. I'll go and say this: it's rigged. This is all rigged. Basically, what's happening over here is it's like, it's basically WWF wrestling at its finest, American election. So what's happening is the one side knows that the other side is going to win, and they just play against each other, and they give people two options that you're going to choose between good guy and bad guy. And the good guy always wins, and the bad guy is going to lose. There is no room for gray, which happens to be 80 to 90% of what we live in. The problem here is that there are countries right now. Do you know one of the most important things that has happened recently is a country like Bolivia, which the U.S. helped. They basically ousted their properly elected government last year. Bolivia re-elected the government that they had elected, democratically elected in the past. They put it back in. And the only request that the gentleman who came back in power was like, please, United States, leave us alone. Let us go about our business. The problem here remains that we are living in a world where everything, as far as Western politics is concerned, it's rigged. In UK, it's rigged. In Canada, it's rigged. In the United States, it's rigged. We just have to live with it. We pay our taxes. They keep us busy doing what we do. They give us false choices that are never the real choices. It will never be a proper candidate. So let's stop discussing this. Let's take it as what it is. It's entertainment, guys. Let's just keep it to that.
Frank, I am gonna agree with you on this, right? Because all this thing about like elections and democracy, this, that, yeah, to me is a complete illusion, right? It's something that's given to us to think that we have some great say in the way the world is run. But whichever political party you look at, whether it be American, whether it be British, French, or whatever, they have to be funded some way, right? They have to be funded by somebody somewhere, which leaves it open to influence and leverage. Now, if you think about the top few people in the world who control all the wealth, that is where the power lies, right? And if you threaten that system, right, that's when it gets really, really nasty. And we've seen it happen to so many different political figures over time. And I think we've got to that point now where there's the elite in society, which are untouchable. They on a global scale influence so much, and they become so powerful they're untouchable. So whatever we vote for and whatever we think rights we've got is just an illusion, because it's influenced by all these people above us. So let's have no sort of qualms about it, right? We are being controlled. That is the way of the world.
Gary, you will know what is happening in the world. We will know the reality of what is happening in the world. If someone mentions, if a candidate who litmus test will be if a candidate mentions something about banking regulations, if someone comes in and talks about banking regulations and that has something to do with finances, you will see exactly where the power lies. The biggest thing that we are unable to, us laymen's who go to work, who pay our taxes, we are unable to grasp, or we are
the little fish, right? And it's the system, Frank. The system will always protect itself. You threaten the system and you're in big trouble. The only time the system is vulnerable is when you have a revolution or you have anarchy, right? Because then people become uncontrollable. But it will find a way in the end and restore the balance. And that is the way the world is, I'm afraid. It's a hard and bitter pill to swallow. And that is the world we live in. That's the way that I see it.
This is exactly the world that we have to think about. We have to think about how we, amongst ourselves, to be very, very honest with you, a wise man today sent me a text message, and I'll read this wise man's text message to you. He said something very, very smart, and I was something very, very poignant. And what he said to me is that it's all within that person. And the wise man actually happens to be amongst us. So I'll tell you one thing. It is amongst us. It is within. The future is within us. Sometimes we forget the line that we are taking, but when we are dealing with certain issues about our future, governments will not decide it. We will always decide it for ourselves. We will never be able to do it through political leaders. This will not happen in our lifetime. We have to do it as a community, small communities. We work with each other. We have a barter system, or we have whatever kind of system that we can establish amongst each other so we can be beneficial for each other. Let's not worry about politicians. Let's not worry about any of these idiots. Let's, amongst ourselves, establish a system where we can deal with each other and work with each other. That's the best way to do, and that's the best way to work as a community.
See, I think Frank's got a great point there, and a very important point is that if you look to politicians to change the world, forget it, right? And we're brought up thinking that, you know, politicians do change things. It's people that change things. It's movements, ideas, individuals. They change things. So never look to politicians to change things. Mostly what politicians do is realize what's popular and ride it like a horse, you know, and so they can get, you know, X amount of votes. So it comes from people. It comes from the people. And then he's hijacked by politicians.
That is where the power is, really, the people.
To quote the wise man, we are the positive future. So let's stick to this. This is the important line. I really appreciated that line. It actually made my day. So this is how we have to look at things. We cannot be worrying about, do you know why I'm going to stay up on Tuesday night to watch that election nonsense? It's good entertainment. We are locked in. What kind of entertainment do we have? We're going to watch that.
This is an interesting point, Frank, because Charles addresses that. We're gonna finish here on air, and we'll go to our lock-in, and all are invited to that. I'm up to a maximum of 10 places in there, but we will have a drink and a chat privately when we close just a minute from being on air. But I think this is an important point and worth probably unpicking in the next hour when in our after party. But it's entertainment for the rest of the world, but it's life and death here for this election. The riots that have been happening here for many months, led by Antifa and BLM, they are attacking police and burning businesses and threatening the lives of citizens. This is not a joke. 100% agree from Chris Roberts, but focused on different outcomes. This, I think, is in a strange way ties it all together, because this is what happens with the system that there is currently in operation, isn't it? Is that it, on the one level you can see it, it's Shakespearean. Right. On the level you can see it as a Shakespearean drama or WWF, it is entertainment. And then because people believe it and don't see that it's entertainment and that nothing will really change as long as they invest themselves and their energy and believe that these politicians will change their lives in some great way, this is the outcome, as what we're seeing unfolding, I think, in most Western capitalistic neoliberal so-called democracies. It's the same all over, isn't it? The belief, instead of seeing it as entertainment, believing that it's a useful and positive force, and then it gets to very polar situations where one half of the population starts to hate the other. Brexit, America, just over and over again. You know, this is a system for turning one half against the other. That can't ever work, and that's why it ends up what Charles is articulating here. Frank, closing comment, and then we'll go to lock in.
Just to Charles's comment, we don't wish. As a matter of fact, we want America to do well, because that is, as far as the world is concerned, that is the dollar is the trading currency of the world. So if you just look at the numbers, we want America to do well. That is never the case. It is not a joke. We are all not sitting over here watching and hoping for America to do bad. It's just that we want America to, as far as a country is concerned, is to kind of clean up its act and maybe concentrate on what's going on inside the country and come back to what we expected America to be. If you're going to be the big brother, if you're going to be the big daddy, behave like the big daddy, and the rest of the world will follow suit. If you lose respect, is because of the behavior. And this is what we, the rest of the world, want to see. And I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth. I'm just saying, I don't mean to offend anyone. I'm just saying that this is something the rest of the world wants to see. We want to see proper leadership.
Yeah, and it's amazing, isn't it, that I think we're setting a good example of what happens when people are left to their own devices to communicate and act respectfully towards each other. We had the most amazing little gathering last week, and the same thing's going to happen tonight. Chris and Charles, who have been trading those comments, will be joining us after in the lock-in. They are amazing men who want to come to Portugal. We welcome them both, and I admire the brains and ideas of them both, even though they would appear to be entirely antithetical opposite to each other. They are great company, they're great people, and I would welcome them sort of side by side, shoulder to shoulder in the community that you speak of, Frank. On a local level, these are intelligent, smart guys with different views, but they are people who you'd be happy to be in the same community with, right?
Absolutely.
And how is it? Politics gets them and makes them seem opposite, yet man to man, they seem like great blokes to me. It's incredible. Okay, and we will join them now. So we'll call it a day there. Eric J says, we'll see you guys Tuesday night to help support Charles. Okay, so I think there may be a few more friends of friends coming along for that and our coverage, and we'll see how that goes. How we're gonna, we'll be like WWF or watching a sports match really for us, because we'll probably have our own TVs on, won't we? Obviously, we can't broadcast other people's streams, but we will be watching it ourselves, and then we'll be commenting on it like this. Like in the Muppet Show, those two old guys, but there'll be loads of them. There won't just be two. It'll be like Waldorf and Statler. Is that what they're called? Like repeated over and over again across the screens. Thank you so much tonight for your contributions. Just jump on that call. Come see us. Yeah, we'll see you soon, Chris and Douglas. Yeah, Doug, do join us as well, and Charles and Eric if you're about. We will see you again for the Man Friday, but we'll see you for election coverage Tuesday and Wednesday. And on Monday night, if you're part of the Man Cave, Expat Man Cave group on Facebook, you will know Mr. Meme himself, Paul Ryan. He's talking to me on Monday night at 10 o'clock. So I look forward to having a conversation about Paul's journey and his scrapbook of memes, which is over 10 volumes now. He'll be autographing and sharing with me. Take care and bye for now. We're going off air now to our lock-in. Take care and bye for now. Have a good weekend.